This is my Ring of Honor DVD review of ROH's Battle for Supremacy DVD. And first off, got to say this was probably easily the worst Ring of Honor show that I've seen so far this year in 2008. Before this, I would say the weakest show was the ROH double feature show where they did the double shot when they were taping stuff for the movie The Wrestler, and that was probably the weakest one up to this point. Then this show happened, and gotta say this show as a whole had one great match, maybe two subpar or at least average matches. Everything else was not that good at all. But let me get into the review of the show. The first matchup was Silas Young and Mitch Franklin teaming up versus the Sweet and Sour Incorporated of Shane Hagadorn and Tank Toland. And this was not a good choice for this to be an opener. I feel if you have a bad opener or a match for the opener that's not that good, that kind of somewhat, I would say not all the time, but at least 6 out of 10 times kind of foreshadows what the show is going to be. If you have a bad opener, that kind of impacts the show unless, you have two terrible matches at the beginning and then somehow 5 to 6 incredible, 4 to at least 3-star matches for everything else. And that doesn't happen that often. Pretty much if the opener's bad, you kind of somewhat, like I said, most of the time could tell this wasn't that good of an opener. Now, I'm a fan of Silas Young. You saw some good stuff from him, but that was pretty much it. I mean, the team of Shane Hagadorn and Tank Toland were god-awful in this match. Shane Hagadorn, I mean, he completely bores the piss out of me anyway, and adding Tank Toland in there doesn't help at all. And Mitch Franklin, sometimes he can actually do some good stuff, maybe in like those six-way scramble matches when he does a lot of high-flying maneuvers. But other than that, he doesn't deliver that much. Silas Young, I think he kind of gets the bad treatment in Ring of Honor. Not bad treatment, but not being utilized or picked up that often because he kind of has that similar look or style to Tyler Black. And obviously, if you have to choose between Silas Young and Tyler Black, no matter how much I like Silas Young, Tyler Black is the one you're obviously going to choose, since Tyler Black at least has that potential to be a big star in Ring of Honor, and definitely I could see him being a future Ring of Honor World Champion, where Silas Young, probably at the best, I could see, a top mid-card talent maybe. But the only thing good about this match was, before the match actually happened, Larry Sweeney did some excellent mic work, downing the crowd great. As far as the match, like I said, terrible opener. Tank Toland and Shane Hagadorn pick up the victory after Tank Toland does the one-handed body press slam to Mitch Franklin in a 1 1/4 star match. Then after this, you got Tyler Black versus Delirious. Now, I was expecting a little more from this match, but this wasn't a match going in that I was expecting much from. I was expecting at least an average match, and you kind of pretty much got that. You kind of got like a screwy ending, but I guess for storyline purposes it made sense. What they did was they obviously had in the, as they have in most of the times in the Age of the Fall wrestling, they have Allison Wonderland in the corner of the wrestler, and she was in Tyler Black's corner. And she tried to get involved in this match at one point. Daisy Hayes came out here to try to help Delirious out. Then, while the referee's back was turned when them two were fighting with each other, Tyler Black low-blowed Delirious. Then outside the ring, you saw Allison Wonderland. She had Pearce, which obviously was some loaded object in it. She hit Daisy Hayes with the Daisy Hayes was knocked out. And this distracted Delirious. And then Rhett Titus came out there to help Daisy Hayes out while Delirious was obviously being distracted from this. Then Tyler Black hit the small package driver, God's Last Gift, to Delirious in a 2-star match. Not that much I was expecting from it, but I was expecting maybe a little more, and the ending was kind of screwy, but it made sense for the whole, Rhett Titus, Daisy Hayes, and Delirious storyline that they did. Then, later on, obviously we knew that Delirious turned on Daisy Hayes and joined the Age of the Fall, which definitely is a good thing for his character, because his character was getting very stale up until he actually did that. Then the next matchup was a 3-way match with Jay Briscoe versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Brent Albright. And this was a match going in on paper, seemed like it could have been something great. For some reason or another, these three didn't mesh well in this match. I would expect this match to be better than what it was, because we have seen in the past Claudio Castagnoli and Albright, they work very good with each other, and I was expecting, Jay Briscoe most of the time in his singles matches, he does pretty good, and I was expecting him and Albright to do some good stuff. And obviously, with the Briscoes and Kings of Wrestling past, and then, when Castagnoli was teaming up with Matt Sydal against the Briscoes, we obviously seen Jay Briscoe have some good chemistry with Claudio Castagnoli, but for some reason this match felt like a clusterfuck. It was not that good of a match. It seemed like they were pretty much going through the motions, where it was just one of those matches where it was move, 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 and it was really no purpose of the match at all. The way the match ends is Claudio Castagnoli hits the running European uppercut to Jay Briscoe for the victory in about a 2.5-star match. Then up next was kind of the saving grace of the show, not making it into a good show, but at least on a show that wasn't that great, you got at least one great match, and this match was excellent. It was Erick Stevens versus Bryan Danielson. Like you'd expect, these two had an excellent match. This was a match that was a rematch from the earlier this year, where them two took on each other at the Transform show, where back at that show, Erick Stevens upset Bryan Danielson and got the victory over him there. And in this match, saw a lot of excellent stuff, a lot of good back-and-forth action, a lot of good counters, reversals, technical wrestling, just very, very good match. And pretty much just like back at the Transform show, Erick Stevens somewhat gets another upset victory on Bryan Danielson when he hits the Dr. Bomb to Bryan Danielson in a 3 3/4-star match. Saw a lot of excellent stuff. The crowd at this show, I guess, obviously wanted Bryan Danielson to win this match, so as soon as Erick Stevens picked up the victory, you heard pretty much the crowd completely boo. But Erick Stevens is one of those guys where you're either going to like him or you're not going to like him. That's pretty much the way he goes. He's not going to be one of those guys where you say, he's kind of, in between. You're either going to hate him or you're going to like him. That's probably the way he is. But an excellent match, in the only match of this show, I would say that was something excellent and easily the match of the night. Then the next matchup was Necro Butcher versus Austin Aries in a relaxed rules match. And obviously, the way this match ends, I'm not going to give this match a star rating. What they did here was you saw them brawl for a little bit, brawling in the crowd. Then this was probably, easily, 2-3 minutes, maybe even less than about 2, 3, 4 minutes into the match. Necro Butcher was on the ring apron, Austin Aries was in the ring, and there was a table right behind Necro Butcher, and Austin Aries pretty much pushed or kicked Necro Butcher into the table, and then Austin Aries gets on the mic and pretty much says, Necro Butcher, my beef is not with you, it's with Jimmy Jacobs. I don't have anything against you. You weren't in the car when you did the attack on Lacey that Jimmy Jacobs did, and what they did here, this was good storyline progression. Match-wise, it was nothing, though. Pretty much what they did here was Austin Aries pretty much took, a lot of punches and everything from Necro Butcher. Necro Butcher was pretty much like, why is this guy doing this? Pretty much Austin Aries is trying to get into Necro Butcher's head. Obviously, later on, we figured out what Necro Butcher did and his intentions to Jimmy Jacobs, where he turned on him and is out of the Age of Fall and now is pretty much a face, which is one of those things where some people probably hated them turning Necro Butcher face, but he's one of those guys that gets such a big crowd reaction up north that they kind of had to turn him face at some point or another. And this match right here with Necro Butcher and Austin Aries wasn't a match. Pretty much he took everything from Necro Butcher, then Necro Butcher got a steel chair involved and just hit Austin Aries with it, and Austin Aries was completely knocked out. Necro Butcher got on top of him and covered him, and Necro Butcher gets the victory. Since this was not really a match, obviously not going to give it a star rating, but for storyline progression with the whole Jimmy Jacobs and Austin Aries feud that they've been doing, good storyline progression, and at least it made sense, I would say, but it definitely makes sense since the following night at Vendetta 2, they had Jimmy Jacobs and Austin Aries take on each other at that show. This is pretty much building up to that and adding a little more steam and heat to their feud. Then the next matchup was Kevin Steen and El Generico versus the Age of the Fall of Jimmy Jacobs and Joey Matthews. And obviously, like most times, Joey Matthews, when he's involved in a match, pretty much is the catalyst to ruin the match. He's pretty much the cause of this match probably not being that good, because obviously we've seen Steen and Generico versus Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black, that combination, and it works out good. Joey Matthews pretty much is like one of those guys like Shane Hagadorn that I'm not a fan of, completely bores me. You know, he's not a good worker. I know that's what his gimmick is supposed to be, since, you know, he's playing a heel and he's with the Age of the Fall, and he's not supposed to really showcase that he could be a good worker. That's pretty much what I guess his gimmick is with the Age of the Fall, and that's what he's been doing with them. This is probably one of his last appearances in Ring of Honor as far as with the Age of the Fall that I can at least remember. It might be one more time he was there, but pretty much this was probably the last time. And this wasn't it was just pretty much an average tag match at best. Kevin Steen and El Generico picked the victory up where El Generico hits a running big boot to Jimmy Jacobs, and Kevin Steen rolls him up for the victory. And I would say, at best, 2 1/4 star match. Then after this, there's a post-match beatdown on Kevin Steen and El Generico. Then the next matchup is the last match right before the main event, which this match is Chris Hero versus Roderick Strong in a non-title match. And these two did some good stuff. At the beginning, you saw some good mat work from Roderick Strong and Chris Hero. I gotta say, this is probably one of Chris Hero's better matches in a little while. It's kind of somewhat, I guess, a step down to the quality of Roderick Strong's recent matches before this, when he was having his feud with Erick Stevens. Nonetheless, this was a pretty good match. The only problem I had with it was it kind of felt like it dragged on a little bit longer than what it should have, especially within the middle of the match. But nonetheless, you did see some good stuff here, and the ending was when Chris Hero hit the forearm to Roderick Strong for the victory in a 3-star match. Pretty good overall match. Just the only problem I had with it was it kind of dragged on in some parts and probably could have been cut a little shorter than what it was. Then the main event was the title versus title match with NWA champion Adam Pearce at the time and the current and at this time Ring of Honor champion Nigel McGuinness. And these two did some good stuff, but this match was pretty much an average main event. Obviously, with the whole Sweet and Sour Incorporated stable out there with Adam Pearce, saw a lot of interference in this match, a lot of cheap tactics and stuff like that. Nigel, obviously being pretty much Dayton, Ohio, I guess is one of the very few towns that Nigel actually still gets cheered from the fans. And I guess since obviously he was taking on Adam Pearce, very few people like Adam Pearce, so that probably helped out Nigel to get some cheers from the crowd. And obviously, since he was with Ring of Honor and it was supposed to be Ring of Honor versus NWA, I guess obviously that's one reason why the fans kind of got on his side. But this was pretty much an average match. Obviously, everyone knows the way this match ends. This is when they did the Dusty S finish, where during the match at one point, Nigel McGuinness gets put over the top rope, and obviously the referee didn't notice this at the point in this match, or didn't know that was one of the rules or something within the NWA rules, obviously with the top rope disqualification. And then this match keeps on going. Then you see actually Nigel McGuinness pick up the victory on Adam Pearce. Then obviously, like everyone expected, this match to go where the decision gets overruled by the NWA commissioner, I guess that was there, Dave Marquez and Kerry Silkins, where the match gets ruled. Adam Pearce wins via over top rope disqualification from Nigel McGuinness. So Adam Pearce still keeps the NWA title, and Nigel McGuinness keeps the ROH title. Like everyone obviously knew back when the show happened in late June that neither title was going to change hands. I expected possibly, the 60-minute time limit draw, but I didn't expect these two to be able to work a good 60-minute time limit, especially Adam Pearce. He might have been able to do it, but this was probably the better way they could have gone with it. It was pretty much, it was interesting to see, I guess, Ring of Honor champion versus NWA champion, the first time that we actually seen it one-on-one in Ring of Honor. So that was kind of the cool nostalgia factor of it, that, the NWA champion was taking on the Ring of Honor champion. It was title versus title. Everyone obviously knew the way it was going to end. The main event I would give 3 stars. Like I said, it was pretty much a average main event, and overall I would give this show about a 5.75. This is a show that I would highly recommend don't check out. I mean, only way I would recommend anyone check this out is if you're pretty much obsessed with, title versus title match and you just wondered how that was, and, the Erick Stevens versus Bryan Danielson match. But overall, pretty much I would not recommend this DVD at all. You know, easily Ring of Honor's weakest DVD I've seen up to this point. Before this, like I said, I thought the weakest show was the double feature show that they had back in March when they did the double shot for when they were taping stuff in between the show for the movie The Wrestler and right before the Take No Prisoners pay-per-view. That was probably the weakest show, but this one definitely was weaker than that. But, you know, the only thing got on here was one great match, and everything else was, you know, I guess some of it was watchable, but most of it was kind of piss-poor quality. And, yeah, that's it for my Ring of Honor DVD review of Battle for Supremacy. And, yeah, that's it. Peace. In closing, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you celebrate this time of the year, just have a happy and safe holidays and Christmas tomorrow. So that's it. Peace.